Welcome, everybody, to the Life, Death, and Happiness podcast. This is all about real talks with real people from all around the globe. In each episode, I will sit down and talk with a friend about how it is to live with an incurable disease or maybe even a terminal illness. And let me get this straight while we're at it. This is all about celebrating life. My name is Daniel Cole, and I'm your host. Welcome, everybody, and for this second episode, I have my good friend Eric with me. You're original from Texas, but say hi and tell us a little about yourself. Who are you?
How's it going, everybody? Well, like Daniel said, my name's Eric, from Texas, from the States, currently residing in the beautiful island of Cozumel, Mexico. Well, basically, what is there to tell you about me? I just try to make the most out of life. You know, that's what it is now. Currently, we were put in a spot, my wife and I just got married a few years ago, and thankfully she had the same outlook in life as I did. She never went through something traumatic like myself or a lot of other people with FA did, such as bone marrow transplants and their battles with cancers. But I was very fortunate to be able to find somebody like her that just wanted to live.
It's so important.
So we, with us, especially because life is short, we know life is short, and most people, they realize life is precious and short. But for us, it's a little different, So, for me, I really wanted to make the most out of this opportunity. I didn't know how long I had. And, just like you, Daniel, we're getting up there. I mean, we're ancient when it comes to FA.
That's the reason
there's a few.
I walk around and call myself the last living dinosaur for a reason.
Right. Well, I always joke that in FA years, like people are like, you're only 41 or whatever, they're like, yeah, but in FA years, I'm like 95. You know what I mean? Like I'm old. So
and I don't know if people listening know that, but Fanconi Anemia, or FA as we usually call it, we have a tendency to have a lower life expansion than normal. So most of us was told, at least us who was diagnosed early, was told that you're only going to live to your 10 or 15, or then it was 20, and then it was 25, and some of us is just too stupid to understand this message, so we just keep going, no matter what happens. So
exactly. And I don't know what it is now, but the last I heard, it's still, the medium lifespan is still like 31, somewhere in there, right, Daniel? Something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 33 the last time I checked, but that's a couple of years ago. Okay. But still not.
Yeah.
Still not perfect.
So but still, we're relatively old, and as far as FA, we don't. I don't know a lot of people, our age or older. So, kind of where I'm at with life now and everything is. It's I guess prior, and I was fortunate. I really do believe I was fortunate because I went most of my life with not knowing I had FA. And so for me, I did a lot of things, when I was younger, which maybe backfires nowadays, and it's not good for me now because maybe the effects of doing it then, I don't know, but at the same time, I didn't have the worries, the fear. So at that time, I lived like most people. Like, let's go ahead and I'm going to buy a brand new house, and I'm going to buy brand new cars and a brand new boat, and I'm going to, I'm going to work and get the best job. I'm going to keep moving up in a company, and I'm going to do, and I'm just going to spend so much of my time working hard to make that money so I can have the newest, best thing and to provide a better lifestyle for myself, and also work on marrying and having a family and such, which most people do.
That is also what I find very interesting, because we are not in the same situation, but almost similar, because back in 93, I was told I was healed. I was cured. So I was like, okay, I've been through BMT. I can just go live my life now. And I didn't have a clue about all this. I didn't know anything about Fanconi Anemia Research Fund. I didn't know anybody else with the disease. I didn't know nothing before 2014. Then it came back, and it just hit me like a brick wall with cancer and everything. But, all those years, I've been living normal. As you said, got an education, got some good jobs, went out, provided for myself, did all the normal things that a lot of people do. So I've not been living in this bubble that some people have been living in. But that's the same, you got diagnosed late. So you didn't
I
really
got
have
diagnosed.
that fear.
I mean, it was crazy. I mean, honestly, so when I got diagnosed with it, it was actually after I started getting tired a lot. It's just, I didn't know what was going on because, like I said, now I'll go ahead and move forward a little bit. So when I got diagnosed, I was 34 years old. Okay. So when I was just maybe 4 or 5 months shy of turning 34, so 33, at that point I ended up going to the hospital. So it was something that was progressively getting more, worse. I was getting tired. It was little things, but I was changes were going on in my life, and I was a little bit active prior to that, and then I stopped because I was changing and moving and stuff, and so I was just like, I guess, like they say, when you get over 30 years old, if you stop working out.
Downhill from there.
Yeah, you're not exercising. You just start getting a little winded, I mean, it's just normal, right? Normal stuff, I mean, I don't know. I don't have FA, I don't know at this time, so I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just getting tired. But then it started progressively getting worse. It was slow. I mean, it was slow in the beginning. This process probably took from the day that I started noticing that I was just getting tired from walking up the stairs to actually being in the ER. That was probably about an 8-month period.
That's a long time, because for most people, like in your situation, you don't start out thinking, oh, it's something really bad, as you mentioned. It's just like, now I'm running out of breath. I'm getting too fat. I'm getting too old. Haven't I been active enough? That's the most natural way of thinking about it. Definitely. So I get that, yeah.
I mean, you just don't know because you've never had this diagnosis before, so you don't know what's the matter with you. Just like, I mean, I feel okay otherwise. I just feel tired. I don't know what's going on with me. And I've always kind of felt tired. I always wondered why, as a kid, all the time, I just chalked it up to being a kid, but I always slept a lot. I slept probably 12 hours a night a lot of times growing up. I mean, and if I didn't, I would kind of lag. But, that's kind of, so I did notice that, after the fact, and once I knew about FA, I was like, okay, that kind of made sense all those years. But yeah, during that 8 months, I mean, it was pretty slow. And then probably in the last few, probably 3 to 4 weeks, it hit me like a brick wall. I mean, it got so bad. And I got to the point where I could not walk more than 10, 15 feet without collapsing or feeling like I was going to collapse.
Shit.
I couldn't stand for more than like 10 seconds without having to grab hold and try to sit down. I started getting to the point where I had to shave. I would sit on the sink. We had here in the United States, we get a lot of counters that are countertops. You can sit on the countertop that has a sink, not just like a pedestal sink, but an actual countertop sink. And so I literally would have to get there. And then I started noticing, when I was sitting there, I was like, okay, I don't have the energy to stand up and shave or brush my teeth.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah.
But I'm like, why? Oh my gosh. I'm like super close, and I'm like, I can't really see what I'm doing. I started realizing that, oh my gosh, my eyesight is going. Like, I am literally losing my eyesight. I'd start walking up with puddles of blood around me. It was all over me, black blood, like on my pillow everywhere. I couldn't stop getting my gums to stop bleeding. I would rinse with stuff. And I'm like, okay, I know I need to go to the doctor, but I'm a guy. I'm a little stubborn. But at this time, in all fairness, I didn't have insurance yet. I had just started a new job. And I can remember this to the day. November 3rd was the day that I could go to the doctor, because that was the day that my insurance was active. And so those 4 weeks leading up to that was terrible. I couldn't eat without vomiting every time I ate. I didn't understand why. So I was losing weight, but I couldn't see. And people were starting to tell me, you don't look right. There's something, need to go to the hospital. I'm like, I know, but what if this is a pre-existing condition and my insurance hasn't started, and I go to the doctor, they will not cover me. I will never be able to afford to get the treatments that I need if they consider this like a precondition. So I have to wait till that day.
That is so serious. I sometimes forget that, because here around where I live, we have the free healthcare, so we don't have those issues. But sometimes I get so upset when I hear it, because the doctors need to, pardon my friends, they need to fucking help no matter what. But I know that's not the situation. I know you need the insurance, but damn.
Yeah. And you know what's sad? I mean, I want to go back and get to where I was at the story, but what's sad about what you're saying is here in the United States, you know, at least when I had my transplant done, they consider that an elective procedure. And so what that means is you have to have it approved. And it's not like in the States with, you know, we do need to have insurance. We have to go buy our insurance or whatever. But in an emergency situation, if you go to the ER and they find something up, they'll treat you, but then they're going to send you huge bills, man, huge bills. And it will ruin your credit. It'll affect your life. Believe me. You'll have to figure out some way to pay it off or claim bankruptcy. So where I was frustrated is like they would not, if I didn't have insurance, even though they would have took care of me in the ER, gave me my blood transfusions, and give me an astronomical bill, which they still did, they would not have paid for the only cure there really is, which is the bone marrow transplant, the BMT. That was it. And they would not. That was what affected you so much.
That was your blood counts that were just.
Yes. So basically, when I got to the ER that day, I literally worked till the day I went to the ER. That day, I had worked that morning, went to the doctor. I don't know how. It got so bad, Daniel. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say I'm thankful I didn't kill anybody. I would literally honk my horn. I worked, thankfully, in a small town at this point, and I worked maybe a mile and a half from where I was living at the time. And it was a pretty direct couple streets I had to go. And I would literally honk my horn every 10, 15 seconds in hopes that somebody didn't jump out in the street, because I couldn't see. I didn't know anybody there. I would just move down there. I just started this job. I mean, I'm still thinking for the future. I got to be able to pay my bills and stuff like that. And so I'm like, I got to get to work, and I'm honking. I mean, I can't get the blood to stop out of it, which is embarrassing because everybody's looking at me at work. What's the matter with you? I literally would have to squint down and look while I was trying to write in a book, making reservations, you know what I mean, and stuff. I mean, I'm vomiting every time I ate something. At some points, it was like every hour I had to vomit. Like I couldn't. It was that serious. So when I finally did go to the doctor, you know, I had an appointment.
Yeah.
They had me. I walk in, and apparently I look like death, and that's what I'm saying. I couldn't see. Everybody was telling me you look very jaundiced. I was gray. Everything was gray, and I couldn't see that, so I didn't know the severity of it. But like I said, what was I going to do? I needed my insurance, so I went in there. The assistant's like, "Oh, you got an appointment? Well, you need to sit down. We got a couple people in front of you." I'm like, "But it's right now. It's scheduled for right now." And I'm just feeling really terrible, you know, because I mean, look at how many weeks I've been waiting, or how many months. Yeah. I was like to the end, just trying to hang on by a string, man, to make it here. And finally, for some reason, the doctor comes out and goes, "Oh my gosh, you need to get that guy back here right now." He didn't know who I was. Didn't know my appointment was up there. He just could see me. They got in there, did EKGs on me and everything, had me sit on the little bed platform and was trying to figure it out. Couldn't figure nothing out. All he told me was, what I wanted you to do is I need to know, I'm going to call an ambulance for you. I think maybe you're internally bleeding. I don't know for sure, but what I see, your readings are really, you know, they're off on your EKG, but you got to really, I think my blood pressure, I think my heart's per minute at a resting was 230 beats per minute. Yeah, like it was bad. And I'm just sitting there. And he's like, I don't know what's going. The only thing I can think of right now, because he was just a normal home doctor, like a doctor, you know, he's like, I think you're internally bleeding. Yeah. So he's like, go ahead and get off the bed and go sit in the chair in the office here, you know, in the little office. I'll be back. I'm going to do you want me to call an ambulance? Because you got to go to the emergency right now, and it's like 30 miles away. I'm like, well, there might be somebody that call me. I don't want to pay for that ambulance because that's expensive, you know. So I was able to get somebody to come and get me, but they were going to be there for about 30 minutes. So they said, go ahead and get changed, get ready. They left me in the room. Well, as soon as they walked out the door, Daniel, I stand up. And all I could feel, the worst feeling in my life, I started sweating out of every pore. If you had pores in your eyes, I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. I mean, I'm not biology and stuff, but I sweat out of everything. My eyes, my nose, my ears. I had never felt such pain, just so terrible. I felt like complete and utter shit.
Wasn't you
and I felt
panicking
like
inside?
vomiting. What's that?
Wasn't you like panicking inside in that situation?
I really was. It wasn't so much the panic in there because I knew something was wrong. I mean, yes, I was scared because he's telling me I'm internally bleeding. He thinks, but I'm just like, it was just weird. It was like nothing. It wasn't like a panic attack because I've had panic attacks and I know the difference between that. I wasn't that stressed. I'm like, I've already been feeling like crap every day for a while. Like I'm finally got my insurance. I'm finally going to get this figured out. I mean, I'm not sure what it is, but who would have thought at my age I'm going to have cancer or whatever? No. I mean, that's not even on my mind of whatever's happening. It must be like diabetes or something,
it's something
right?
old people get. Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, I stand up and like I said, during this whole like I said, I've never felt so ill in my life. I literally, and excuse me, I'm an open book, literally felt like vomiting and shitting myself all at the same time. And then all I remember is all the sweating and everything's moving. I just, a white light, Daniel. And I remember just before that, because I looked at the clock before this happened, because I knew I needed to get a ride. I saw what time it was, and I remembered what time it was before. And you know what?
Oh.
I woke up after that bright light. I mean, I just saw a flash, white flash, and that was it. I woke up, and I was on the floor. I had chairs on me. I had the doctor's clipboard on me and stuff, and I'm looking up like, whoa, what's going on? Where am I? I looked up because I'm trying to figure out where it is, and there's the clock, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm still at and I'm looking, it's like, that was 15 minutes ago.
Oh.
I was out like that. Nobody came for me.
Nobody
I
saw
don't know
it
what
all?
happened.
Shit.
I still believe today. I had to literally, they couldn't. I would be blocking the door. I was laying on the floor, completely on my face, had chairs on top of me. I must have collapsed, fell onto everything, and things came tumbling down on me. And I was laying in front of the door. I drugged myself, and I drugged myself out of the room. I couldn't even stand at this point. Grabbed the latch on there, pulled myself down the hall, and literally started to crawl to the bathroom. Trying to splash them, trying to pull myself out so bad, man. And I literally just sat on the floor in there until they got me, man. Like, I mean, till they found me in that bathroom. And I swear to you today, man, I think I died. I really do. And the reason why I think I died and something brought me by, whether it's the willpower, whether it's my grandma that just passed away unexpectedly a few months prior to that and was my guardian angel, whatever it is, whatever you believe in, for me, it has to be, because when I got to that emergency room and I got picked up, we went immediately there. I mean, I walked. They got me. I don't know why the person didn't just drop me at the front door, but they parked at a closed parking spot. And I walked for about 20 feet and I sat down. I had them help me back up. I walked slowly, another 20 feet, got there. Got to the door, and literally right into the door, there was a wheelchair. I immediately jumped into that wheelchair, and I just was like that. And somebody went running off and got somebody. The person that was with me got somebody and got me in there. They got me into the room. I mean, they rushed me in front of everybody in the emergency room. They were trying to stick needles in me, and to no avail. I mean, I was having golf ball, baseball size, bursting, veins everywhere, because they couldn't get a needle in my veins. They were just exploding. They were just like, and so I mean, that was starting to get a little scary for me. Eventually they did get it in, and that probably took a good 20 minutes before they could get one in anywhere. They were getting to the point where they stick it in my neck or my foot. And I said, literally,
any vein they can get to. Yeah.
You stick it in my neck, I got a reflex. I'll kick you in the face. I'm sorry, I got a reflex, and I'm like, I'm not. It's nothing against
funny,
you.
But it's funny. Yeah.
So, but like they did, and so probably it took. I had a bunch of nurses in there trying to help. Normally, you only get one when you're in the ER doing basic things, but I had like 3 nurses in there. It was crazy working on me, and they finally got it in. They got fluids in me and everything. They did my what's it called? My what's the word for your CV whatever where they do your
count, what
blood work, whatever. Yeah. It's something I should know, because I mean, I only had it like every day for the longest time. But anyways, came back. So this is what's crazy, Daniel. When they came in, the doctor wouldn't even look to me in the face, and he's looking down, and I'm like, oh gosh, this can't be good. And he's like, He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I don't know how to say it, but we think you have leukemia. And I'm like,
Leukemia,
what?
yeah.
Leukemia.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, I broke down, man. I mean, I feel like a pretty tough guy. I mean, I got my sensitive side too. You know, I'm an all around guy, but I mean, that just broke me down. That was something I would never think I would hear. That was basically giving me the worst news you could give me. I can handle anything, but you're gonna tell me, and I didn't know much about leukemia. I just know that it was like more of a childhood cancer, which, you know, I mean, and a lot of people die from it. And I'm like, what? At this age, I got leukemia. Now, they didn't know for sure. This was preliminary. Okay. So but he couldn't even look me in the face. And this really set in. I mean, I was emotional. I mean, they got me into a room. They got me stabilized a couple hours later after, 9 bags of blood. They got me, I had 3 bags of platelets just to get me to a somewhat okay level. I ended up having, and this was at 11 o'clock at night, I ended up having a oncologist show up, super sweet lady, comes in and she goes, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Doing pretty good. I mean, I feel a lot better. I can start seeing a little bit. I don't got all mine, but it's not so fuzzy." I said, "I feel like I got some energy back."
I mean, that's kind of fucked up that in that situation you said you're actually feeling good because it has been so bad. So it's like, normally people would be like, "I feel like shit," and you're really, "Oh, this is okay."
Exactly. And I'm like, "Well, doc," I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" You know, like they told me I got leukemia, like, and I'm pretty freaked out, man. And she's like, "Well, I'm going to do some more testing. It's, we're thinking it's either that or maybe severe aplastic anemia. Just let me run the blood work and everything. But I want to tell you something." She goes, I'm like, "What? What's going on?" She goes, let me ask you a question first. She goes, "What did you do? Like, I mean, do you do a very active job, or what do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, yeah. I was working at a meat packaging plant, and and I've done a lot of other, like, I was a contractor and stuff, so I was always outside. I was always lifting stuff, always doing stuff. But I told her, I said, but I go to the gym too. I enjoy exercising. It's good. It's good for me. It's a good stress reliever, and I know it's good for your health, just all in general. You know what I mean?" So she goes, and I said, "But why? Why are you saying this?" She goes, "Honestly, because whatever you're doing or whatever you were doing saved your life. And I don't think that's all that saved your life. You had some intervention somewhere, some divine intervention." Because she goes, "I have never in my life seen somebody, I mean, for one, being awake, being coherent, being conscious, but alive either, with the hemoglobin level that you had when you came in today. I don't know how you walked in. I don't know how you were alive. I do not know how you didn't have a major stroke or heart attack." And I was like, "Why? I mean, how about, like, I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about hemoglobin.
How should you know? Yeah, exactly. For normal people,
she goes, "Well, here, we were at sea level where this was at." She goes, "Here, the level range for a normal adult your age is a 14 to an 18 on hemoglobin," which she had to explain means oxygen in your blood that goes to your muscles and all that. And I didn't know a lot about medical stuff back then. I knew a lot about other stuff, but not this. And she goes, "You had a 2.4. And I'm like, "A 2.4? She goes, "Yeah." And she says, "In all my 30 years practicing oncology, I have never met anybody that had that low of a hemoglobin and that was alive." And every doctor that I've seen since then, all my other oncologists that I've moved to, or my bone marrow transplant doctor or whatever, have all said the same thing when it's come up. Whatever you did and whatever else played a factor in this, you shouldn't be here today. And that's why when I went back, when I was talking about it earlier, I do feel like I had somebody looking out for me, and I do feel like I died that day.
I do get that feeling, definitely. There must be.
Because how in the hell did I survive with that? So, but, since at that point, and I know I kind of really went into detail on that, but that was how I was thrown into it.
Okay.
Because like I said, I was healthy, or at least I didn't know I had any disorder or anything going through life, until I went to that hospital that day, and that was when I was 33 years old. we ended up getting out of there, moving. I had my mom go down because at that point I was in for a week in the hospital. They did not allow me to go back to work. You know, at that point they found out. At the point when I left Colorado, they were more leaning towards severe aplastic anemia. My mom came from Colorado, picked me up since I could not work. We grabbed whatever we could of my stuff. I sold most of my possessions that were in Texas, moved back to Colorado at this time because that's where she was living. And from that point, we started seeing doctors there. I would say it was 3 days before Christmas. This jackass of a doctor. I mean, I'm appreciative for him for one, but you're going to tell me 3 days before, because I had seen him probably 2 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah. And
he did some testing, and we felt like he was a good doctor to go with. And I was like, all right. So he started doing, he says, you know what, just out of a hunch, I studied in Seattle. You know, I'm familiar with something that I learned about Fanconi anemia. I doubt you have it. I doubt it. I really do. But I just want to test for it. Let's just rule it out.
Yeah.
Which I'm appreciative to him to this day that he checked and he found this. But there was many things of why I ended up moving on from him. But the one thing I was like, you could not have waited. This is what you gave me for my birth. Not after everything I just went through. You're going to give me, because I already got home after he told me that you might have FA, and then I started getting really scared. I mean, I was already pretty scared about the whole.
You started to read about it when you heard that?
Yeah,
of course.
And I started reading about it, started to Google it and stuff, and then my mom was freaking out about it, and we're like, oh my gosh, but we're trying to be positive vibes. I don't have it. We're good. I don't have it. Well, 3 days before Christmas, he decides he's going to call me and tell me, hey, Merry Christmas. By the way, you got FA.
Ah, fuck you.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, that's just what I needed to hear right now.
Exactly. I'm like, you couldn't have waited until after Christmas. I mean, you don't have to wait till after New Year's, but you couldn't have waited at least a few days, man.
It's not fun, but sometimes the doctors who have been doing their job for so many years, they don't think it through. I've had a few of not that bad an experience like 3 days before Christmas, but sometimes they need to think before they speak. I mean,
we're not just a study; we're a person.
Back when my mom got cancer, I haven't talked about it in the podcast, but I told you before. Before she knew it was cancer, there was this doctor coming in, and they were just taking some tests, and he was like, "We don't know what it is yet. It could be anything, like cancer or something else. But good night," and then he just left. She was like, I was visiting her. She was like, he can't just say maybe it's cancer and then just walk away without.
And walk out.
Yeah, then just walked away because he had weekend, just as you said. She was devastated the whole weekend. They couldn't get a clear answer.
Yeah, and stressed out of her mind, I'm sure.
And she never got the diagnosis before after she died. But sometimes the doctors just need to shut the hell up, or at least just time it a little better.
I mean, just realize that we're humans, man. Just have a little, compassion. I mean, and Daniel, I apologize that your mom had to go through that. I really do. I feel for you. I understand. And getting to that is actually why I have fired doctors over this. And people think that you can't do that. But you know what? We got one chance at this. We got one life. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
If you are comfortable with your doctor, or don't feel like they're doing a proper job or putting enough interest in your case. I don't need to hear you got all these others. I don't need excuse. I've got all these other patients. Well, you know what? That's great, and I do understand that. But that to me tells me you just don't have time. You're making excuses. I need somebody with a good bedside manner. That's what got me through all this. I started hiring a bunch of female doctors. No offense to the male doctors, but for me, I need somebody that was more nurturing. I respond better to women. I've grown up that way. I'm more somebody that likes that nurturing side. And for me, going through this battle that I was about to go through, I was going to go with somebody I felt comfortable, somebody that was nurturing, somebody had a great bedside manner. And on the other thing is you have to start asking questions, because before I fired that guy too in Colorado and then went to Minnesota, I asked him, and he got furious. Oh, that's unprofessional. He got angry at me and my mom in the doctor's office. And that told me I made the right decision. So I asked him, I went in there, I said, and I can thank Teresa Kennedy for this, which if nobody knows, she was part of FARF. A lot of us, some of the original people that have been part of FARF for a little while know of her. But we started reaching out to her at some point, and she told us, she goes, you need to ask some questions.
Yeah.
One of the questions is, sure, okay, you've done transplants before, bone marrow transplants. Okay, how many people have you treated with FA? And how many of those people that had FA were successful transplants? There was another question which I can't remember, but it wasn't as important as those two questions.
But these are important questions, of course.
Exactly. And he literally took offense to this. I said it just the way that I'm saying it to you now. I wasn't mean about it. I didn't raise my voice. I wasn't smug about it. I just asked. I said, this is something I have to know. I said, because I can't be somebody's guinea pig. I said,
it's your life, of course not.
Yeah, you've already told me that I've got some rare disorder here. And, this is something that, I've got to be serious about. And I'm sorry. And I even said it ahead of time. I said, I'm sorry if this upsets you or comes across in a wrong way. I said, I'm not taking anything from your expertise and what you've done, but these are just questions I have to have answered before I am ready to go to the next step with you. And he literally started yelling at us. Can you believe that?
No,
I cannot believe you would have the audacity to ask me something like that. And I found out that you had Oh, hell no, you didn't just do that. You just sealed the deal here. Okay. Thank you. And we did. And I put a smile on my face, and that was very unlike me. Normally I get a little hot-headed a little bit, but I've worked on that.
I was like,
I just kind of smiled. Oh, thank you very much. I'm happy. Thank you for making this easy for me. I appreciate your help here. Well, that didn't go across so easy either. He didn't like that either, I guess. I probably shouldn't have smiled, but I was just
But when you have something like Fanconi Anemia, or if you have cancer, or anything else that is life-threatening, you need to stand up for yourself and ask those questions. And when I go to my checkup for mouth cancer, they want me to stop going for checkups every 6 months. And every time we have the same discussion, it's like, but you haven't had anything for 4 years. But I'm coming back in 6 months. But no, you shouldn't. I was like, this is not a discussion we are having. I will be back here at this place to get my checkup in 6 months. It's not a discussion. And sometimes I think I seem arrogant, but I cannot. It's my life. I cannot afford
it's your life.
Yeah, I cannot afford to say, okay, then I just stay away and hope for the best. Fuck that.
Right.
I want to stay here till 50 or 60 or 70.
And you're doing everything that everybody should do. And I hear that. A lot of people get deterred because they start getting scared. Maybe, I don't know what the word of the doctor, or he's the boss. So he says not to come, even though I know and I've been told that I should come regularly every 3 months, 6 months, or whatever specialist you're going to. When they start kind of telling you, no, it's fine. You don't need to come out. Then you're kind of like, well, they're kind of like the professionals here. But people don't understand. They're really not professional. Okay, they practice.
But just like you ask him, I usually do the same trick. Be like, just to be sure, how many Fanconi Anemia patients do you have?
Right.
So that question usually just ends the conversation because they'll be like, but nobody. But so how can you be an expert in this?
Right, exactly. So everybody just still needs to be their biggest advocate for sure.
So if you look upon this time you had where you got thrown into this in a very harsh way, figured out that you had FA, you have to deal with all this. So after that had settled, you got the bone marrow transplantation. And if I can skip a bit here, I'm kind of curious about when that was over, how did you reflect upon everything that had just happened? How did you know how to start your life again?
Well, honestly, I didn't have all the answers to those questions, and that's a good question. What I can tell you is I had pure excitement running through me, because the way I viewed it is, it was a battle. It was a battle, but the way I viewed it is I was in jail. I kept a very positive mindset. I going through the whole process, I got rid of a lot of negative people in my life. I surrounded myself by positivity is really what I did. But, so that did help my mental state. But obviously, it does take a toll going through something like that. And I was stressed out, man. I just had to get out. But for me, the way I am is that stress that I got to get out of here, I turned into willpower. That I'm going to, when they give me goals, or actually set myself goals, but when they would tell me, well, you got to do this before we can let you here. We got to do this before you can get to this step, before you can go. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it this quick. You'll see. I'm going to get it. And I did every step of the line. I set short-term goals. And so it kind of helped me mentally get through it all, to the point where, once it was coming up on that time, I just had pure excitement, man. I was like, I'm ready. I am ready to get out in the world. I'm ready to have a salad, as crazy as that sounds, man. I'm not neutropenic anymore. I could go and have some shrimp, go eat some seafood. I can go have some fish, whatever I want. I can go have a good, tasty salad. I can have fresh veggies, man. You know what I mean? Even chicken I really didn't eat when I was sick, because I was so neutropenic that they didn't want me to have a lot of vegetables, fresh vegetables, or obviously fish, which a lot, and I don't know if it's still quite the same nowadays as when I did, but they didn't want you to have those things because they're worried that you're going to get sick because it's not cooked, or the bacterias that are on the veggies, even though they're good bacterias, could kill you. So I was, so excited to get that salad, so excited. And I'll tell you what, buddy, I will tell you what, man, I appreciated every little thing in the world.
Isn't that the beauty of this? I mean, we can talk about
the world.
I mean, we have, even if you have to deal with something that is so serious, but still, that excitement you talk about right there, oh man, I freaking love it. That is, after I was afraid I lost my taste buds after I got cancer in the mouth, but afterwards, and my tongue healed and stuff like that, to be sitting down at a fish restaurant and be able to eat this and taste it again.
Yeah, isn't that nice where it's not taken with salad?
I was so afraid I couldn't taste stuff afterwards. So it's the small things, but you start to appreciate it so freaking much. It's just
now, taste buds, did they change? Did they change on you a little bit after?
They did change a little bit. I have a harder time tasting something that, like shrimps and stuff, that doesn't have a huge amount of taste. But I can still taste it. But I need to place the food in the right place in my mouth. And on the right side, if I really want to have the whole palate. But it's a workaround. Who gives a damn? I can taste it.
Hey man, you're still alive to taste.
Exactly.
And that's what it's about. It's so what I came up with a motto. What got me through that is, you can always find a positive in the negative. And I actually have it. If anybody's ever seen it, it's right here. You can't probably read it, but right there, it's written. It's a motto that I ended up tattooing on myself after, because it got me through. Whenever I was down on things, whenever I was thinking, starting to get in a negative mindset, I started telling myself, look, when this happened, look what just came out of it that was good. You just lost a quarter of your lung, but guess what? If you wouldn't have lost that part of your lung, you would have gone to transplant. That fungal infection, which they thought was cancer at the time, which why they removed so much of that lung, would have killed you. So I started looking at everything in that way, and I ended up that was my motto through transplant, and I've still tried to hold true to that now.
That's such a good way to look upon things.
Yeah. So it's like what you're saying.
No matter what happens, there will always come something positive out of it. Yeah. If you really look at it. I mean, it does. Totally agree. But if I can move on and talk about something that might be a little darker topic. It's because, it's life, death, and happiness. So
Right.
I always ask these questions about after what you've been through and what you might maybe going through in a few years, your whole circumstance, the whole situation you're in. How do you feel about death and the thoughts about it? I mean, it's no secret that people like us, we lose a lot of friends because we tend to get to know other people with the same disease,
right.
the same condition. So it's something we frequently have to deal with. But how do you approach that?
Well, honestly, I fight with it every day. I mean, I try to, like I said, I try to be a very positive people that do know me know I'm pretty full of energy, and I try to be in a great mood, fun, whatever. But I mean, there's that other side, like you're saying. I'm just like everybody else. I fear death every day. I try to file it back in the back of that, memory back here, but I do. I worry about it every day. And there's good and bad that come from it because I live every day to the fullest. But at the same time, I find myself becoming higher paced with everything. I have bad anxiety now, severe anxiety. I have PTSD going through it, and I have been diagnosed with these things. So these are my battles now. So it's things I fight with. Obviously, I'm not ready to go. I feel like I am a person that loves life, and I was given a second opportunity to live. And now I'm living in my dream home, which was my bucket list growing up as a kid, being somewhere in the Caribbean. And I don't want it to stop.
Of course not.
But I do know that we all have our time. I do know that I've been blessed to get to the age that I am right now with FA. It broke my heart seeing so many people younger, especially the kids not, passing.
Yeah. It hurts a lot.
And that, so it kind of says, you know what, Eric, you can only complain so much. But at the end of the day, it's still tough because you know what? This is my life. I'm me. And I still want to be here. But, Daniel, in all honesty, what scares me the most.
Yeah.
I've already lost most of my family. I only have my brother left, and I hope he can take care of himself. I mean, I still worry. He's my little brother. But the biggest reason why I feel like it's hard and I don't want to go anywhere is because of my wife.
Yeah,
I'm
I know
so
that feeling. Yeah.
I did not want to get married. As much as I loved her, I told her, I said, are you sure? I got to the point in life where I didn't want to get in a serious relationship anymore because I didn't want to drag somebody through this. I didn't want somebody to have to only be with their husband, their love of their life, for a couple years, and that was it. And then they had to go through all that pain. I didn't want to have a kid.
But there's a good part there. She actually chose to stay. Same with my wife. She could have walked away easily. Yeah. She when we found out that I still have this diagnosis, I have told her it was a thing in my past that I was cured, nothing could happen. But I both admire and respect the hell out of it, that they actually choose because they freaking love us. Me. And it's a good feeling that they still want to be here.
Yeah, it gives hope to others. Like, and I feel bad for the people with FA that feel like, you know what, that's just not for me, or I can't find somebody, or nobody's going to love me, because that's not true. Agreed. You got to get that out of your head, because there are people just like your wife and just like my wife, special people that we are amazing people. So what? We have this disorder. We can do anything and everything that our heart desires. I feel like we're even better than a lot of people that don't have this. Not in a way where I'm comparing, but we see life differently. That makes us special. I mean, we try to live.
It does. It makes you appreciate life in a very, very different way.
Right. And she told me, I would rather have 2 years with you than to never have you in my life. And so that really made me feel like it's okay. Does that mean it goes away and I don't worry about her? No. At the end of the day, what I fear the most is is me dying because of her. Obviously, I do want to live, and I have a lot to live for and so much to still do and see. I love to travel now. I love to see new people, meet new people, make new friends, learn different cultures, and that's huge to me because that's living. That's why we did what we did. That's why I'm thankful also to have her.
Why survive if we don't use the second chance to do something good and live a good life? Be happy.
It's the whole live to life, the whole live to work, work to live. I found a way
you also know
to where I could work enough to live, but not live to work.
No, exactly. I agree totally with that. And also, you also know I'm a positive person, and 99% of the time I feel like I'm just keep going, and I feel like I can push down all boundaries. I'm going to be here till I'm 200 years old. Fuck that. I mean, I want to set a record or two. I mean, I just keep going because I have a great life, I think. But then there's these times where I wake up in the middle of the night, and I look at my wife, and I'll be like, shit. What? How are you going to react? How are you going to move on when that happens? But then again, when I wake up the next morning, usually I start all over again, and I feel good and stuff like that. But also, I got a son 6 months ago, and that has
more reason to live.
And there's so much reason to live. When I look into his eyes, it's just pure love, and I know exactly why I'm still here that is also divided into two parts. Right. I love him so much. I want to give him everything, and then the next thought is, and maybe that's stupid, but I try to set small goals. I just wish if I can just be there for his 3rd birthday, then I will be satisfied.
Like you
After
said,
that,
little goals.
Yeah, the next will be 5 years old. But
get to 5.
But from the bottom of my heart, I just hope he remembers me.
Yeah.
After that,
and maybe your legacy will go on.
Maybe that sounds depressing to somebody, but I don't think that's.
It's realistic. It's not depressing. It's realistic. It's our life.
But it also means that when I'm with him, I'm present, because I want to look him into his eyes. I want to see him smile. I want to be there for him. So it makes me stay much more present in my life right now. So that's the beauty of it.
The important things, and that's the thing is we've been that gift of appreciating the things.
Yeah, that is a
more
gift.
Than those. And so I mean, it's so true. I want to ask you a question. Do you find that more of an issue where the worry, I don't know if you call that depression. I don't know what you want to call it, but that moment at night when you're sitting there and you look over at your baby or you look over at your wife and you just go, man, I'm scared. I don't know what it's going to be like for them when I'm not here. I don't want to leave them. I find that happens to me at night. Don't know what it is. I don't get scared during the day about it. I don't stress about it during the day. I do at night. That's not every night, but it is something that hits me at that time of the day.
Yeah. I don't know what to call it, but it's part of. I appreciate my wife, my son so much. I appreciate that they're here in my life. I can't get enough of them. They light up my whole life. So the thought of me being the reason that they will be sad and they will have a long time with grieving, that hurts a lot.
It hurts.
Because I want them to be happy.
And that's what I tell my wife. I'm like, what are you going to do? You got to have a plan, babe. Just tell me what you're going to do the day I pass. Are you going to go back? Are you going to stay here in Mexico by yourself? Are you going to still want to be here after all what we've just made down here? Are you going to go back to the States and go stay with your mom? What are you going to do? We've basically semi-retired ourselves so we could do this. We found ways. We sold everything we owned so we could live this life in a place that was more affordable. We've been fortunate, to be in a place where, we were able to do this, but it hasn't been easy. But I worry about the future. We're living the dream right now, and we're making the most out of life, which is important to both of us. Because,
but what happens? I try to look at it upon that way. We talked about this, something positive in everything. When we move on, when we pass away, they will also gain something positive in the long run. Maybe they have learned something about life through knowing us. So I choose to believe that it hasn't been a waste of their time, but they have
Right.
gained some real value for them. Having this time with me and with us in your case, yeah.
And y'all making those memories, right? That's why it's important to make those memories now. And I like that. And like I said, I get that, and I do think of that a lot. And I think that's really good that people hearing this hear that. And that goes back to finding the positive out of the negative. You just done that
Exactly.
with that fear of us moving on from our loved ones. You just found something positive out of that whole terrible negative. And I mean, there's no way around saying it's a negative situation. It's not a positive. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to lose a loved one. But you found a positive thing, and then see, that's the whole thing. And to me, that's I think the most important thing is, like you said, enjoying every moment you have, doing what you love as often as you can, and just living. And then on the other end, trying to take care of yourselves. Like, I'm not obsessed with it, but I do try to eat most of the time good. But if I want something bad, I'm going to eat it, because you know what? Life is short. I'm going to make the most out of it. If there's something bad, even though I'm trying to be healthy and I go to the gym, which is important in my opinion too, I keep hoping that working out and eating healthy, exercising is going to keep me here longer. It might help. I don't know. But how is it going to hurt? You know what I mean?
I agree. And also, I will use this as a bridge, because we're going to talk about happiness.
Yes.
What's made you take? Because I agree, because everything we learn, I should say, you learn to twist everything that happens into something positive. I'd be like, yeah, I appreciate this. I remember to tell my wife that I love her. I remember to look my son into the eyes and make him smile. What makes you happy? I know Marisa does, but what makes you happy? What makes you laugh? What gives you the drive to be like, yeah, screw all this heavy. I'm going to live life.
I mean, what makes me happy? Honestly, it's great. I mean, doing things for others, man, makes me happy. It puts, even though I know that, I've got my battles and with everything that we deal with and stuff, I try to do things for people all the time. It makes me feel good, putting a smile on people's face, joking with people. I'm a lot like you. We like to live life like, I don't know, just relax, like by the seat of the pants. We just tranquilo. Here they got a thing called tranquilo. Just everything's just tranquil. We just chilled. We just want to have a good time. We want to surround ourselves by good people. Just laugh, joke. There's no reason to be super serious. We already have enough serious in our lives.
Sure.
Yeah, it's great medicine. Laughing. And to me, just making my wife happy, knowing that, that I'm there doing everything that I can for her and helping her live this life too, which is something that she's always dreamed about doing. My happiness is right here, down here in the Caribbean with my other half, just meeting new people, going out and laughing and just relaxing, getting a little beach therapy, getting a little vitamin C. And I don't mean the letter C, just trying to make the most out of life, and just laughing. I think that's the biggest thing. It's just we pick and we make jokes with each other all the time. That's just how we are. And to me, that makes life go by so easily. But because we're doing what I've always wanted to do on my bucket list, this is my happiness. Like I told her, at the end of the day, even though I want to be here forever, I've already done biggest things that I wanted to do in my life.
And isn't that wonderful? Even if something happens tomorrow, you have to live in the life you wanted to.
People go their whole life. You know that, Dan. Don't even get what we're getting. Like, look at this. I got my other half. People don't want to say soulmate, and I don't believe, but I actually do believe she is literally my other half, like the female version of me. I've got her. I couldn't ask for a better person, a better woman. And that was all I ever wanted. I was in multiple failure relationships growing up, and but you know what? I got it right. It took almost 40 years, but I got it right. Got my best friend with me, and we're living in the Caribbean, which was the highest on my bucket list, thing that I wanted to do.
That
And we're
struck me
still
so
knocking
much.
out
The first time I met you, and you talked about this, about you moved to Mexico and all that, I was like, it was mind blowing to me. I was like, hell fucking yeah. That's the way to do it, man. I mean, I'm living in a cold country. I'm living in Denmark. I have pneumonia for like a month each year because my health
Bundled
is fucked
up all the time, right?
and then I look at the picture. I go on Facebook or something. I look at your pictures where you have the beach outside and you're living the good life. And be like, what the fuck am I doing here?
Well,
I really miss the good
hey,
weather. No, but I
if you
really,
ever need the pointers, man, I will tell you how you can do this, man. We will make this happen. I've invited folks. I mean, I've got the family, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean by family.
yeah.
Not my blood family, but I've always said, I'm like, if you need a getaway, come and visit me here in Mexico. I mean,
I think it's an incredible movie you
don't-
made, the two of you.
Yeah,
I think
don't-
it's so damn cool that just most people would think about it and be like, but it's not really the right time. Or they will find a tons of excuses to not do it. But you actually
And
just
you know,
did it.
when's the right time, Daniel? When is the right
You
time?
never know when the right time is.
Exactly. So you just do it. We just winged it, man. We're like, let's do it. What are we doing? Let's go. We just got married. Let's just go travel. And then we started traveling like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, there's so much more out in the world, so much more than just the United States. Let's get out and let's like learn other cultures and just meet amazing people. And you know, and so we literally sold everything we had. And yeah, that's scary. That is a big gamble, a big risk. But you know what? How many times do we look? I don't know. I want to believe in reincarnation, but we don't really know. So how many times, how many opportunities are we going to have this? Let's do it. We had one chance, and we're only getting older, man. So let's do this while we can enjoy it.
Do it while
you know?
we can, and when we know we have the possibilities and the means to do it, actually. I mean, I've been to Kenya, I've been to Taiwan, I've been to the United States a lot of times, I've been to a lot of the European countries, and I love it every single time. 2 years ago, we went to Iceland, just for the hell of it. I always wanted to see that. And my wife gave me this trip for a birthday gift. I was like, oh shit. I was like, can we afford that? You were like, fuck that. We always have. We're not rich by any means, but we find a way. We always succeed. If there's something we really want to bring into our life, we find a way.
Yeah. And that's all it is. Find a way to make it happen. I mean, we waste money, if you really think about it, for so many different things. And it's like, you can sacrifice a little bit just so you can take that trip. Even if it's just, you know, I understand not everybody can do maybe what I'm doing, but that doesn't mean you still can't go do something, you know, smaller things, or go make a big trip somewhere once a year. Just do what you have to do to make that possible. Sacrifice if it is what you have to do to go do that thing. But that's what I love about you, man, is like, you do what I want, what I've been trying to do and what I started to do. You go off and do everything. You've been everywhere, man. And like we talked about going and traveling, and unfortunately I didn't get to make the last meeting, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I still want to go do some things. I'm still down if you guys ever want to do a trip. And if you're ever like, hey, come on, hey, buddy, come on up to Denmark.
I'm down
let's go. I'm like, let's go. You can come to Mexico whenever you want to come too. You know, I mean, let's go experience something new. I would love to go see what it's like where you live. You know, I mean, like, I want to go. I want to see the world before I pass. You know, but at least I'm in the place I'm happy. So that's what makes me happy at the end of the night.
Yeah, no, it is really struck me because, as I mentioned before, the whole story about the two of you moving to Mexico and everything. But when you, I mean, your company, the two of you just seem so genuinely happy. So I thought it was like, when you said you wanted to participate in this podcast, I was like, hell yeah. I want to hear about it. I want to hear about your perspective, how you live life, man. Because I love that frame of mind you have and the way you think. Because I think this is also inspiring for other people. Because we all know, I talked to Amy in the first episode about that too, that we all know that we will get some blows. We will get kicked down plenty of times. So when we are not dealing with that kind of shit, why spend time thinking about it? You know, just be here, be present, and do something good now. I mean, I could plan for 2 years in advance and be like, yeah, in 2 years, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know what the hell will happen in 3 months from now.
Exactly.
So I'd rather want to take my wife to that dinner or go on that vacation, or tell my dad that I actually loves him. I want to do these things now, or at least as soon as possible.
Exactly. And you know what? If you don't mind me interrupt you right there, because you just got me on something. I agree 100%. And one of the biggest thing that happened to me after transplant, it was, and I would tell people, I still do to this day, and they'll be like, hey, you know that cool little thing, like that place, whatever, or maybe that landmark or whatever. He's like, we should check that out. They'll be like, should we check that out? And I'm like, yeah, we should go check that out. Well, all right, let's go do that. We'll do that the next time we're in the area. Mm-hmm. No, I did that prior to my BMT. I did that prior to finding out I had FA. Now, I'm like, no. Why? Why wait? We don't know. Nobody knows. No matter, even if they have FA or not, nobody knows.
You're right.
Why wait? Let's go do it. I've got tired, and that's what I told her. I said, I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, my buddy lives right over there. I should stop by and say hi or whatever. I'll do it next time. I'm too busy today. No, find time to do those. Just do it. Do it. Just make it happen then. Life is short. Go spend that time with your loved ones. Whatever you've been wanting to do, go do it. Whether or not, like you said, it's a nice dinner you want to take your wife, or say your parents, or whatever, wherever, whoever it is, go do those things. If it's something that you always wanted to do, don't say next time, because there might not be a next time. And at the end of the day, when I leave this earth, I don't want to have like, what's the word? That's when the chemo brain's kicking in right now. But I don't want to be on my deathbed and be like, hey, I had those desires or those wants. And you know what word I'm trying to find? I just can't.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
But I don't want to have anything that's holding over me like that. I want to be able to sit there and go, hey, I'm not ready to go, but you know what? I got to go.
I can actually find peace now. Yeah.
I made it a point to see my friends and family all the time. I got a lot of time in. Could we always want more? Yes, but you know what? I wasn't like I was before, where I would only see my mom once every 2 years. I was making the effort to do it more often, or my best friend that I hadn't seen in a while, or going over that place that we always drive by and we just don't stop, and it looks so cool, whatever it is. I just want to go check it out. And we just never did. I wish I would have done that. I don't want to be in that position. So I am thankful for FA, for the fact, and my, going through that transplant, getting the second chance at life, for the fact that now I make the most out of life. I try to look at it that way. I at least make the most out of life, and I go do the things that most people put off. Most people put off for a lifetime and never even make it there.
All human beings should be that smart.
Yes.
We all know, we have heard it since we were children. You have to live life, but most of us forget it. Then we are taking an education, we are going through, we have to pay the bills, we have to blah, blah, blah. We know all this stuff that's going on in our life, and we forget the most fundamental part. Be happy.
Yeah.
Isn't that ironic that we have to have some, often we need to get kicked in the nuts by cancer, Fanconi Anemia, or Leukemia, whatever people, it doesn't even have to be life-threatening, but people, we usually need to get kicked down before we actually start realizing what we have been told the whole life. It is
crazy,
rocket science.
But how can you not be thankful to that?
Yeah.
That's why I said I have found positives in these negative things that have happened in my life, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if I wouldn't have got FA, if I wouldn't have had my MDS, my blood cancer. I would not, and gone through I would not be doing what I'm doing today. And this, I actually feel like I'm living. Not getting into it, but and I know it's not about that, but I just lost my mother.
Yeah.
God rest her soul. But she never made it to that point, Daniel. She passed at 63 unexpectedly. She never retired. She got to travel very little in her life. And it saddens me that she never got to that point, but she kept saying, I'll do it later. I just got to get there. I got to get there. And she didn't, and she didn't have FA. She didn't have.
I get why that makes you sad, because she should have. No, it's not like she should have realized, but you just wish she had, because she deserved those experiences.
And I want everybody to do that. I want everybody to live, to have that opportunity. It's just sad. And you would have thought she would have learned that from going through because she was there with me through pretty much every step of the way, going through me getting my transplant and stuff. And it changed her a little bit in some good ways. But unfortunately, she was never able to let go and to actually go out and live more, make it to where she could live more instead of consuming herself with work. And it breaks my heart. And that's what I'm saying is so many people out there that don't have FA, they don't get this opportunity like we do. And that's all I'm trying to say. If you want something positive, we're talking positive now. We've been blessed with that. Cursed and blessed at the same time, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah. I totally. I feel regarding that way. Looking upon it. But I think I want to ask you a question. That is, when you have something severe condition like we have, but it probably goes for everybody who has something they deal with. On this scale, that we're told not to be out in the sunlight, don't drink beer, don't smoke. We have all these rules that we should apply to, because that is what the doctors tell us. And I do get why they say like they do, because they have the statistics. I mean, but what are your takes on it? If you should give out an advice to somebody who's all new to this and was told like you have to let go of blah 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 blah, all these things, what advice would you give to people who come into this situation? Yeah.
I think when it comes down to like what we've been touching on, living, you should do what makes you happy. Obviously, you should follow the recommendations. So I think when it comes down to, I think you should be able to live a life just like every adult out there. You should be able to do anything that your heart desires. However, with certain things, I think you just need to be smart about it and just do things in moderation. I drank for many years before I knew what I had, but I still drink occasionally. I don't drink that like frequently, but I would say, in all honesty, I mean, they would frown. People in FARF and other doctors would frown upon the way my lifestyle, because I probably, when I'm down here, I mean, I'm in the Caribbean, I want a pina colada, I want something, whatever it is, I want to have a nice cold drink. And, I mean, it's nice when you're with other peers that are adults that you can partake in what they're doing a little bit too. So, I still do the things I want to do, but it's in moderation. If I go to the beach, say I know I'm going to the beach tomorrow, I might have 2 or 3 cocktails, okay? I try not to ever get, like, tore up, to where I can't, because I know that, and I actually get mad at myself because I do that every now and then. I'll be honest, and I get pissed at myself. Oh, it was fun that night. I'm sure too. It was fun that night and everything, or that day or whatever. But the next day you feel like crap, and that's your body also telling you this isn't good for you. And it's even worse for us.
Yeah.
But I still do what I want to do. And I think it all comes down to eating bad. Whether it's your eating, whether or not it's drinking, whether or not it's whatever your vice is. I just feel like if it's something that the doctors say you shouldn't do, I think you should do it in moderation. This guy right here too, not ashamed to say I'm pro cannabis. Okay. I think it has, and if that's okay for me to say too.
Totally.
I just do it in a healthy way. I'm not hiding. I mean, that's who I am. It's my medicine. I would prefer to take that than take pills. I just vape it in a natural way. There's no burning, there's no carcinogens in that form. So for me, I do it in the healthiest way possible, and I don't do it necessarily daily. I do it when I need it. It helps me with my anxiety. It helps me with my issues of sleeping. Because I do have, sometimes I'll have a little bit of insomnia, and I do take CBD oil too. And CBD oil is also helped me. I mean, I believe in a lot of the studies. It's a natural plant, and it does. I really think so. That's good. So even all those type of things, I think, obviously, I try to do things that are more holistic. Doesn't mean I would not take medicines if I had to, but I try to live a cleaner, more holistic life. And I'll do my little vices. Like you said, everybody's an adult. Everybody wants to do it. I don't recommend smoking cigarettes. I mean, that's just my opinion, because I don't know if once you do it, I kind of feel like there's really no moderation to it. You just, but that's everybody's choice, not mine. I'm not here to preach. But like I said, I just feel like everybody should do everything in moderation when it comes to that. I will still live a normal life like any adult does.
Actually, last year I was invited to Germany to make a speech at their Fanconi Anemia yearly meeting. It was Ralph and Einige who invited me, and I was there to talk a little about quality of life. And I also talked about some of the stuff you're doing here, because, I mean, people, when they hear my part, after I got the cancer in the mouth 4.5 years ago, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of these things. And people are like, oh, but it's almost like you're saying you're doing all the right things, but and then they want me to talk to the teenage kids and tell them to not do any of these things. And I'll be like, wait a minute. It's easier for me. I mean, I'm 43 years old. I've been drinking. I've been getting high all my life. I've been having fun. I've been partying. It's easy for me now that I'm getting older. I've got the cancer. I know there's a risk. So now I've chosen to say, okay, I already did my part, okay? I probably also drank your part and her part. And I drank a lot, and I did party a lot. But so it's easy for me now to say that I quit it, but that's not the same as nobody with this condition. Anybody else shouldn't do it, because I mean, I would have missed out on a lot if I never went to a party with my friends, if I never tried to get high for the first time, or. I mean, it's not that people do have to do these kind of things, but I mean, I lived a normal life, and I think that's also the reason I'm still here.
Yes.
Because I've been enjoying myself.
Yeah.
Now
because that's part of
it. Exactly. Now I've tried to make a smarter move. And the only thing is, I always keep up my appointments. I mean, even though...
That's important.
Exactly. I don't compromise with that part of my life. I know I have to be there by the doctors, and all the tests they can come up with, sign me up. I don't care.
Right.
Just help me, getting older. I want to be in check with that part of my life, but the rest of it, quality of life. I mean, as I mentioned before the podcast, that I love the sun. The sun is the best thing for me, maybe because I live in a cold country. So when the sun is actually out, I'm going to be out there. I'm not going to wear a silly hat. Fuck that. I want to feel the sun.
That bald head needs some sun.
Yeah. I want to feel the sun and the warmth and the heat. And I love that.
It's healing.
And that's, even though I don't drink beers and stuff like that anymore, that is a compromise I'm not willing to take, because that would hurt my life quality way too much.
Right. And I admire that. And like you said, you do... you may not do those other things because of where you are in life, and I totally get that, and you're right, but you still do something like getting in the sun. It's good for you. You feel better going out in the sun, and I still do the same thing. I mean, I live in a tropical climate, but all I try to do is I try to be smart. I wear sunscreen daily. Mm-hmm. I typically wear a hat on my head. But if I'm snorkeling, I mean, how am I going to wear a hat? I mean, I did start wearing a swimmer's hat, but it's hard when you dive down because it's messing with your ears. So there's times I'll just have to take it off and just do it. I mean, that's why I put it. Now, I will try to go and get organic. Like, I will try to find organic, so chemical-free type of, sunscreens and stuff, trying to limit. And that's what I said. So I do have my precautions that I take as well, but I still go and do the things like you're saying. I still am going to partake in what I want to do. I'm still an adult. And we still have to make our own decisions.
Of course.
And I don't feel like, by doing some of these things here and there is going to really shorten your life. I really don't, because in fact, I almost think by not doing them, it might shorten your life a little, because you're not living, you're not having those experiences that you needed, which makes happiness in your life. Just be smart. Like you said, be smart. You know, if you need, just do things in moderation. Go out in the sun. Don't do it all the time. Don't go out there unprotected. If you got to go get some sunscreen and you want to put chemicals in it, well, do that. But at least you're still protecting your skin from the sun. But you need the sun. Doctors will tell you we need the sun.
Not the FA doctors, but...
Yeah, they'll say, well, you can take supplements.
No, I know what you mean.
We'll take supplements. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. People need the sun to survive, you know. And just like people think, oh, I can start in eating healthy, I need to not eat fats. You need fats to survive. Your brain, your body needs fats. You need healthier fats, but don't go
and even if it's not
fats.
like that. I mean, I know I could eat healthier, but you know what? Sometimes when I see that cheeseburger, I just want it, and nothing would ever make me stop doing that. I mean,
I know you and me, buddy. We are foodies, man. We love our food. You remember, we're looking for the places that have, like, I want to go there. I heard on like Man versus Food or whatever, like this place over in wherever when we're going to. You remember, we've done this before when we were at a cafe. We're like, where have these places go where they say the best burger is or the best whatever is regional type of food? You know what I mean? We want to go and try it because that's living. Why are we going to – we don't eat burgers every damn day, you know.
I mean, and even if I did, that would just, you know, if it matters so much, it doesn't matter to me to eat burgers every day. But if it does to you out there, fucking do it. But
if that's what's important to you, man, do what you want to do.
But then just remember to go an extra walk or go out and run or do something else.
Exactly. Why can't you still go exercise? Yeah, you can still go exercise even though you're eating a hamburger every day. You know what I mean? It's just making just trying to be a little bit smart about your actions. I think that's what it is. It's like I said, when it comes down to it, I've always felt, and I've been fortunate to have a couple good FA doctors that have been, even though they've warned me and told me what I should and should not do, they're very understanding. And they were like, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. Go live. Just please. Just do it in moderation. We're not telling you to not do these things. I will not tell you not to do this because we understand you're an adult. McMillan was one of mine that I absolutely love in Minnesota. And that's one thing, every time I see her, I love her to death. She always tells me, I'm looking out for you. I'm like a mom, okay? All you guys are like my children. But I understand as well that you guys have a life to live. And you guys deal with a lot. And at the end of the day, I want you guys to be happy. And you should do what you want to do. But you just need to be smart and just do things in moderation. I'll tell you, you know, and that's the key. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, and at the end of the day, if you just want to eat burgers, like you said, every day, that's your choice. It's your life, you know, I guess. You know, I mean, do what makes you happy.
I have one final question for you. Yeah. And that is a little, it's still on topic, but now that when people are listening to podcasts like this, there will probably be some parents to kids with cancer, FA, leukemia, and anything, or just other people who are related to someone who fight these different kind of things. Do you have any kind of advice how to approach people like us? It sounds a little stupid, like we're some weirdos or something, but you know. Do you have any advice to people, relatives, to people who have these kind of diseases, illness, whatever? How would you like people to approach you? You know, friends and family. Do you want to get treated normally or special, or what matters to you regarding these things? Yeah,
I mean, I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of parents out there that have kids with FA, and I feel like, for the most part, I mean, you know, I mean, they get it. I think when they see some of us adults like us that we give them hope. Obviously, they're going to be very protective. I mean, we all are of our kids, you know, and probably a little bit more so because of what we've been told you can and cannot do. You know, I mean, and by all means, I'm not saying that because we're all different, what I do. Look, I did all these things, and I'm already in my 40s, so, I mean, you know, you should just do whatever. But I do feel, at the end of the day, I mean, I feel like, and I've seen some kids with plenty of disabilities and stuff have physical disabilities that I don't even have. they could do anything and everything I do and maybe even better. And so I think at the end of the day, I think, be there for them, be supportive and all that, but let them follow their dreams. Let them do what they want to do and just try to allow them and treat them like they are normal kids, normal human beings, that they are not somebody with a disability. They're somebody that's special,
And they are. That was some good advice, I think. Yeah. But Eric, it has been such a pleasure talking to you again. It has been.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a final word or something you want to say or bring up?
Boy, I think I did a lot of talking there, Daniel. I think I pretty much touched all the things, that I really would want to say. I mean, I hope that maybe, I've enjoyed this. I hope that this has been refreshing, a little educational. I hope that maybe I've helped somebody in a little way. If I can, that's really what all it means to me. This is obviously, I love to talk, anybody that knows me, but I also want to be there to help people, and so, I mean, I've always been an open book, and I'm just happy that I could do this. And hey, if you do something like this again, and you don't mind me just blabbing for a long ass time,
I might help you out on that.
You just let me know.
I will. Wow, it's been a pleasure, and I do hope that everything will keep going as it do right now, and you keep having your happy life, Marisa, and that you keep doing what you're already doing.
And hey, and as the battles come up, buddy, I'll go take care of it.
Yeah.
Whatever, because there's always bound something to happen. But you know what? I'm always going to have in my mind, I'm going to get back to paradise. We're getting back to paradise. That's my goal. So let's kick butt here and let's get back to my happy place. So, you know what? I mean, we can only control what we can control. So if you want some advice, here's my advice. Everybody out there right now that isn't living by the ocean, if you are living by the ocean, you should make it a regular. And if you're not, you need to get your butts out there and get some beach therapy, because I really honestly believe that it helps cure your soul. I feel like it's so good for your health. It really does. I feel so much better being out at the beach. There's just something natural about it, man. So hopefully some folks can get out to the beach. That's my advice. Get yourself some beach therapy.
I would take that advice. Thank you so much for participating.
You're welcome, Daniel. You have a good night, buddy.
Same to you. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to tonight's episode of Life, Death, and Happiness. If you like this, please do us a big favor and subscribe to us on iTunes, Overcast, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to this podcast from. If you also give us a good rating, that will be much appreciated. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter and help us spread the word through there. My name is Daniel. I'm signing off. Thank you so much for listening.